The Pixel 3a has been one of my favorite phones for the past year. For just $399, it takes astonishingly good photos because it's got the same camera as 2018's Pixel 3. The camera may be almost 18 months old, but it's still really freaking good. But now it's got some new competition from Apple, since their new iPhone SE is also $399. With the 2020 SE, Apple's taken the iPhone 11's processing power and crammed it into an iPhone 8's body. It's a much more powerful phone than the 3a, but what about the camera? This 12 megapixel lens is riding solo, but it's similar in many ways to the iPhone 11's camera setup, just without an ultra-wide-angle shooter. So how does the iPhone SE stack up against the Pixel 3a? In most cases, pretty well. Let's start with standard photos. The iPhone SE mostly shoots more vivid shots than the Pixel 3a, and does so without losing much detail. It does have one weakness though. It can often overblow highlights, whereas the Pixel is remarkably consistent. This photo, taken in the center of a park near my house, is a perfect encapsulation of the difference. Notice how the green in the grass pops so much more, and how much more dynamic the sky looks. But if you look to the top right, you'll see a spot where the iPhone has clipped highlights. This is an issue that popped up throughout testing. Notice how overpowering the light from the sky is on this overcast day, for instance. In both cases, the Pixel 3a did a far better job at keeping it cool. And that's another thing. The Pixel 3a usually shoots things with a coolish hue, while the iPhone warms things up. Take this Banksia flower. The greens are deeper in the Pixel, but you'll see how the iPhone deals much better with the yellows and the reds. But these photos are the more drastic examples I came across. If you take a look at these shots, which represent the average far more, you'll see that both phones capture excellent photos, but the iPhones are just a little more vibrant. There is a bigger difference, however, when it comes to zoom. The Pixel 3a gives you up to 7 times digital zoom, and I'm pretty sure the iPhone SE takes you up to 5 times. I say pretty sure because the SE gives you a zoom slider with no corresponding number to let you know exactly how far you're zooming in. Not only can the Pixel zoom much farther, pictures zoomed in at the same level are much clearer and sharper. See how grainy these flowers look on the iPhone? And how much clearer this wine label is on the Pixel. Neither phone has an ultra-wide-angle lens. For that, you'll need to upgrade to an iPhone 11 or an Android phone not made by Google, because not even the Pixel 4 has one. Which phone takes better portrait photos is really more a matter of taste than a technical issue. Both are more than good enough to score your new Facebook display picture, but both also have their issues. These two were taken from the same distance, for instance, yet the Pixel looks like much more of a close-up. But looking at the photo itself, you'll notice that the iPhone SE is warmer and smoother. The Pixel captures more detail, look at Dan's beard and hair, but also looks artificially sharp in places, especially skin. This is particularly true in this shot of Din. Look at the creases around the eyes in the Pixel shot. They're not super flattering, but it's not simply that the Pixel captures imperfections. It's that, due to its habit of over-processing, it can exacerbate certain details that shouldn't really be there. The Pixel's portraits are also flatter. In this comparison, you'll see that the iPhone does a better job of distinguishing Rachel from the background. The Pixel is also a bit too shadowy, losing out on Rachel's eyes as a result. But the iPhone also looks a bit too bright and highlighty. And if you compare the two closely, it almost looks like the iPhone has a bit of a fisheye lens effect. For portrait shots, it's really more about personal preference rather than one phone being outright better than the other. When it comes to the front cameras, the two phones are fairly evenly matched. Sometimes the Pixel captures more detail, and other times the iPhone captures richer color. But I have to declare the iPhone the winner here, because it's better at dealing with a wider variety of lighting conditions. I gave the Pixel plenty of chances, but no matter what, it just couldn't deal with the light on my front porch. Low light photography revolves around one question: night sight or no night sight? The iPhone SE has no night mode, while the 3a has Google's night sight. That makes the Pixel much stronger in the dark. In normal circumstances, with the Pixel shooting without night sight turned on, the iPhone usually has an edge. Here you'll notice the SE captures way more information around the wood fire, like details by the ground and in the background trees. And then there are cases like this, where the 3a takes in more light, but does so at the expense of white balance. Notice the unsightly yellow tinge. But hey, gotta give a little to get a little. But turn night sight on and it's a different game. the Pixel blows away the iPhone SE. I feel like I don't really need to go into details, as these comparisons really speak for themselves. Comparing the video capabilities of these two phones would take its own video. But one thing I noticed pretty quickly is that the iPhone had better dynamic range than the Pixel. You can see it a bit during the day, but it's much more noticeable at night. Compare the car headlights in these two videos, and you'll see that the Pixels look far more glary than the iPhones do. In this shot of a wood fire, you'll notice that the Pixel is over-contrasted as compared to the iPhone. The Google Pixel 3a still has a crazy good camera, and though it earns points for zoom and for night sight, for everything else, I'd call the iPhone SE the winner.